Hey gang, Chris here with a breakdown of Ash vs. Evil Dead, Episode 8. This week, Ash finally makes it back to the cabin, but can it possibly hold up to the hype? Stay tuned to find out. Alright, so last week, before setting out on their final trek to the cabin, Ash and the Ghost Beaters are searching for some serious firepower. They're following a tip from an old friend of Ash's named Lim, who is part of a heavily armed militia group. By the time they make it to the group's base, Lim has turned deadite and is causing total havoc. Ash and Amanda are locked in a bunker and forced to deal with him while Kelly and Pablo finally evolve into heroes. And oh yeah, Ruby is back from the grave, and I'm still not sure what's going on with her. In the end, Ash abandons the team, fearing for their safety, and heads off to the cabin on his own. We open in the woods and see Ash arriving over the ridge. He spots what looks like a dead bird on the ground, but it's a deadite bird. He continues onward and then suddenly stops. He's back where all this shit started, the cabin.
Honey, I'm home.
However, this is quite a different Ash compared to the one that was here 30 years ago. He's here to do the right thing, which I don't think past Ash would be interested in. He only cared about his own hide. And now, he has grown enough since even the beginning of the show to actually care for others as well. Ash paces towards the cabin, and we see Linda's cross, the first of many callbacks to the original films. Then we hear Linda's voice in the distance, forcing Ash mentally back to when he failed to save her. Then, there's a heavy, repetitive thud. The bench out front is still methodically slamming into the front wall. There's a building moment of suspense as Ash is about to step inside. And guess who's there? It's Amanda, who was able to find the cabin pretty conveniently. Or maybe the evil drew her to it. Certainly possible. She wants to know why Ash would run out on them like that. And he says it's because of the rules. Namely, everyone he cares about dies. Fuck the rules, Amanda retorts. She's going to help them end this. Yeah, fuck the rules. You go, girl. And now it's finally time to go inside. The crew did a really excellent job recreating the cabin. Even the shotgun blast in the front door. They really put in every detail. Well, almost every detail. There's no Freddy glove in the work shed. Nice job anyway. Ash is naturally reminiscing about his past at the cabin, while Amanda is haunted by her own memories, seeing her partner killed again. Ash explains to Amanda what the plan is and describes the vision he had about burying the book. She sees the cellar door and tries to open it, Shane still keeping it closed, and we see a quick flash of his sister from Evil Dead 1. She says they need a crowbar to get down there. Ash thinks there might be one in the work shed. Only issue, his girlfriend's head is still in there as far as he knows. As such, he's not sure about letting her go. Amanda relents and offers to stay and watch the book. What are you doing? Don't split up! What a terrible idea! No! Ash gone, she stares at the book, sitting on a table ominously. It suddenly tumbles to the floor, and we hear whistling winds come from cracks in the wall. Then see Ash's hand, looking all gross and maggoty, and an eyeball appears on it. And I'm sure you all remember what happened the last time a rogue eyeball appeared on someone. Bad Ash from Army of Darkness.
You're a goody little two-shoes.
Meanwhile, Pablo and Kelly are lost in the woods, wandering aimlessly, trying to find Ash. They hear some nearby voices. It's a group of Australian backpackers trekking through the creepy woods of Michigan at night. Sounds like a great vacation. They're rightfully a little concerned by how heavily armed Kelly and Pablo are. Pablo tries to ease their fears, reassuring them that they are the good guys. You see, these weapons are for hunting bears. Evil bears. They ask the backpackers if they've seen a cabin, and it turns out they passed one a while back. Kelly is able to convince them to take them back to it despite some reservations. Then, outside the cabin, Ash turns on the generator, a light bulb flickering to life. As he approaches the work shed, he is haunted by more voices from his past. In the shed, the lights come on and we see the skull of Linda still in the vise.
Long time no see, Linda.
He then finds the crowbar, but before he can leave, the door slams closed. He tries to open it, but can't. It won't budge. Damn evil possessed doors, and Ash is trapped in the work shed. As Amanda slowly searches the cabin, the suspense is quite real. This is the first episode since possibly the pilot to have any straight horror in it, and it's a welcome return. She sees the reel-to-reel recorder now lying on the floor, and we hear the distorted voice of Nobi crackling out. In the woods, Teresa Palmer, the next generation, asks Kelly if Pablo has a girlfriend. She's obviously into him, or is maybe just super desperate. Kelly doesn't seem that bothered at first, saying he is single, but then changes her answer and lies, saying Pablo does have a girlfriend. Woo-woo! Looks like Kelly is finally starting to develop feelings for Pablo, whether she wants to admit it or not. The group make it to the cabin. Pablo tries to convince them to stick around, thinking they can protect them from the evil, but they decline. Bye for now, Aussies. They'll all be deadite fodder before too long, I'd wager. Back in the shed, Ash is banging on the door, hoping Amanda hears him. Then we hear a voice behind him. Linda's. Aw, shit! Her head is suddenly reanimated, and she tries to play on Ash's emotions, as the evil tends to do. This is probably my favorite reference to the films, as I really wanted to see more characters reappear from the original trilogy. This reminds me of an idea I had for when Ash was on his vision quest back in episode 4. Instead of his stupid talking iguana, how awesome would it have been if it was his sister that guided him through his trip? There's a lot more emotional depth they could have mined if you think about it. It would have forced Ash to deal more directly with his guilt over what happened to her, instead of just being silly for no reason, as it was in the episode. Anyway, woo! Whew, sorry for that diversion. Ash tries not to pay attention to Linda, using the crowbar to try and pry himself free. But Linda's head won't stop. He yells for her to shut up, the emotional cracks in his armor starting to show. Amanda is still searching the cabin, occasional creaks breaking the deafening silence. She opens a door, revealing the room Ash played the piano for Linda in Evil Dead 2. Then she spots Nobi's open journal on a table and looks it over. The particular passage is related to the knife and its importance. And remember who has the knife? That's right, Ruby. Maybe the knife is the real key to stopping the book. Then Ash appears in the doorway behind her, suggesting they should just get out of here. Leave all this shit behind and start over. This sounds more like old Ash. Something's definitely fishy here. He asks if Amanda can help him find the guy he used to be, but she isn't too sure, saying only maybe. He takes the opportunity to go in for a kiss. She tries to stop him for a moment, saying this isn't really the time or place, but in the end goes for that kiss anyway. Ash's hand caresses her face, and we see it's the gross evil hand. She's confused at first, but then recognizes it as the hand Ruby had, and she wants to know more about what happened. He says what's important is that he can give her everything she wants, and he wants her. She refuses and insults Ash, obviously thinking something else is going on here. He says name calling is not nice, and Amanda runs away. In the shed, Ash continues to struggle with the door while Linda's head starts breaking him down more. He sees the chalk outline of the chainsaw, and we hear chainsaw sounds as Linda's head splits open at the top. He looks to saw blades on the wall. They start to vibrate, then launch at him, barely missing. Then a bear trap comes to life, lunging at him. Ash holds it at bay with the crowbar. This was a pretty cool sequence and definitely reminiscent of the time that he encountered the skeleton back in Evil Dead 2 in the work shed. Amanda runs through the hall in slow motion. Before she gets too far at all, Bad Ash appears and grabs her, slamming her head into the fridge. He gets a hold of her and she fights back, scratching him. He grabs her and she reaches for something to help, a cleaver. Amanda slices off the evil hand, cutting it to bits. Ash pretends that it was the hand that was controlling him and he's okay now. But this is obviously bullshit. He starts to laugh. The good news is I still have this hand to finish the job, he says. In an instant, Bad Ash slams her into the cabinet and stabs the cleaver deep into Amanda's shoulder. Oh no, Amanda, things aren't looking good for you at all.
Now that's what I call cleavage.
She slowly struggles to get away, but reassures her, don't worry Amanda, it'll all be over soon. In the main room, she stops for a moment. Ash warns her to be careful. There's a weird demon sound and she flings back onto the antlers on the ground, impaling her. Fuck! Man, they really shouldn't have split up. In the shed, the bear trap has hold of Ash's Nintendo Power Glove hand and is able to pull it clean off. Linda tells Ash they'll make sure he is always alone, and that he already killed Amanda. Instead of breaking down, Ash is sick of her shit. You talk too much, he says. Boom! Crowbar to the head and an amazing gore explosion. In the cabin, we finally learn what was meant when the evil said it knew Amanda from way back in episode 1.
We knew who you were the first time we saw you. We knew you were going to try and help Ash. You won't be helping him now.
She stays strong and defiant, telling Evil Ash they're going to send them all back. He isn't exactly worried though, saying his Goody Two-Shoes doppelganger is way too dumb to succeed. And this is clearly the end for Amanda. Her death is actually pretty painful to watch. I feel really bad for her. I know she's not the best character, but Bad Ash taunting her as she bleeds out is just brutal. Speaking of Ash, he is finally free from the woodshed, calling for Amanda. He finds her near death and is in total disbelief. She explains what happened, that his hand grew into another you. Ash is quite emotional, taking her death upon himself. He gives her a final kiss and Amanda convulses, dead. Man, Ash has the worst luck with ladies, but I guess it was her choice to come to the cabin. He did warn her after all. Bad Ash shows up and is a total dick.
Well, better to have loved and lost. And boy, did you lose.
Cackling as he leaves. Just then, Kelly and Pablo show up, wanting to know what happened. Did she turn into a deadite? He tries to explain that he didn't do this. It was another me. They are in shock, but Ash isn't sticking around to explain further and searches for Evil Ash. He kicks open the piano room door and gets bashed in the back with a table leg. Evil Ash says that Ash didn't deserve Amanda. He knows because he's just like him. But this gives Ash an idea. He knows his own weaknesses, and there's quite a few as it turns out. Starting with the trick knee, he bashes the Evil Ash with a crowbar. Evil Ash follows suit, punching Ash in his sore kidney. They continue to fight, exploring all of Ash's physical weaknesses. They grab at each other, one strangling the other. Time to die, they say in stereo. Then, the end. Damn you, cliffhanger! And all the tension is quickly deflated by a wistful, low-key folk song by Don Gibson called The Two of Us Together.
The two of us together.
A perfect touch to end the episode, and is also reminiscent of the Goofy song that ends Evil Dead 1. Wow, what a great episode. Probably my favorite since the first. I was worried that they wouldn't be able to pull off a satisfying story with the cabin, but they've done a pretty great job so far. There's tons of references to the films, which got my nerd boner rock hard. Right now I have no idea where the story will end up, but there's still 2 episodes to find out. And where's Reza Ruby? She was completely absent this week. I still wonder if she's gone totally evil or what, but I can definitely see the final showdown of the season being Ash v Ruby. Also, Also, what was the point of Amanda now that she's dead? There was a lot of time devoted for her story for that to be the outcome. I was waiting all season long for a big reveal to give her a grand purpose, but looks like that ain't gonna happen. Ah well. I bet you that she will be back next week as a Deadite at least. They simply have to. Also, now that Kelly is starting to like Pablo, is he doomed to die? I'm curious because I'd say Kelly is definitely more Ash's protege than Pablo as far as being kind of an unhinged badass killer of evil. And we know how love interest of those who hunt the evil tend to go down in this universe. Having to kill Pablo would make her transformation into the next Ash complete. Or maybe I'm way off base. But what do you guys think? Was the cabin everything you hoped for? Let me know in the comments below, or you can tweet me at FoundFlix. Until next time, stay groovy.